Wow. What up? What up, everybody? McLovin in the house. What's up, dude? Round of applause for my live studio audience from McLovin. Woo! Wow. All right. Happy to be here. Feeling a little bit better. My voice is it's coming back slow and steady. Jeez. What's this Bitcoin doing? Why Bitcoin is at these levels? Why buy Bitcoin at these levels? That's the topic of today. Because there is no top. That's why. All right, let's get the show started. Let's get the show popping with what is this? There it is. Let's get the show popping with the first segment of the day. The sad strength. Shoot. While we are pressing buttons all over the place. Today, the price of Bitcoin is $91,786.79. Still in the 90s. Some people might have been freaking out selling at 90,750. But I kept stacking. We keep stacking. So, yeah, today you can buy 1,089 Satoshis for a single dollar. What is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar is made up of 100 cents. A Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. So, if you're walking down the street, minding your own business, you look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day that penny could buy you almost 11 Satoshis, 10.88 Satoshis. Soon, one penny will buy you 10 Satoshis, and then less than 10 Satoshis. Crazy. When Bitcoin hits 100,000, one penny will buy you exactly 10 Satoshis. I'm buying all the tops, Roman. It's a crazy maxi. I'm a crazy maxi Bitcoin. I know you are. Exactly what you're supposed to do. Because little do people understand, it's not the top. You know, the tops become the previous lows. Because if you understand what Bitcoin is, you know that there is no top. And we'll talk about that a little bit more during the Why We Stack segment. What do you mean Bitcoin has no top? Well, we'll get more in depth into that after this segment runs out. Oh, I just killed it. All right, cool. So let's get into the next segment, which we call Why We Stack. Okay. So the topic is why buy Bitcoin at these levels? And the answer is because if you understand how the paper money works, then you also understand that Bitcoin has no top. Okay? Yeah, it might dip a little bit, but it's going to continue upwards over time. Right? And for the simple fact that the US prints money, issues debt, creates more money, and when it does that, the value of the money in existence gets debased, gets diluted. And so as long as debt continues to accumulate on the national debt, as long as institutions and banks issue loans, the money supply will continue to increase. And when the money supply continues to increase, the value that money supply represents does not increase. It only changes the amount of it only changes the amount of value each individual unit of that currency represents. Right? If I have this circle thing here, right? And only one exists, it represents 100% of the value that the circle represents. If I now have two circles of this thing, Now, each circle represents 50% of the value that exists in terms of these circles. Okay? So every time the money gets multiplied or incremented, each individual unit represents less and less percentage-wise of the value that money represents. And therefore, as money continues to grow, each individual unit of that money is weaker. So as each individual unit of that money gets weaker, it costs you more and more of that weaker money to buy assets that are more hard, like Bitcoin or real estate or gold or silver. But the hardest asset of them all is Bitcoin, because you can't make more of it. Okay? So that is why Bitcoin has no top. And now you know. So now you can be part of the knowing crowd. If you know, you know. Well, now you know. All right? That is what we save in Bitcoin. The short version, the elevator pitch of why we save in Bitcoin. We save in Bitcoin because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you already worked for as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents that value. I almost hit it at the end of the music, so close. All right. So, what to do next? I have an idea. How about we do the stack recap? Stack recap, because we don't only talk about stacking stats here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it, and we've been doing it for a whole year, and more than a whole year. But right now, we're gonna focus on this year so far. So far in 2024, we've been stacking $20 a day, most days. Sometimes more on special occasions. But mostly $20 stacks. And since the beginning of the year, we are about $6,825 saved in Bitcoin, and that has grown to $10,788. Another way to look at this is this. Why are we saving Bitcoin? Because in the future, harder things, scarcer assets like Bitcoin, for example, the 11.7 million Satoshis that we accumulated this year, that cost us $6,825. If we were to go and try to buy the same amount of Satoshis today, the same amount of Bitcoin, it would cost us 58% more, because the money we're using to buy it with has lost 58% of its purchasing power against Bitcoin. So instead of paying $6,825, we need to pay $10,788 for the same Satoshis, for the same thing. Not crazy? So on average, our average purchases for the show are up to $62,000. That's our average buy price, and the current price of Bitcoin is $92,097. Okay, so since the average price of Bitcoin is above our average buy price, today we're gonna buy $20 worth of Bitcoin, but we're not gonna buy it just yet. Let's get into the full record of the show. The full record of the show so far. I finally updated all the buys and included the buys from last week and the week before. Pretty much all in green except for last week's buys, right? But other than that, all the numbers have been accounted for. All the Satoshis that we stacked so far are accounted for in our spreadsheet. So for the whole lifespan of the show, since May 22nd, 2023, Pizza Day, we have accumulated 0.31124,849 Bitcoin for a street value, the paper money value of $28,693.11. That's how much our stack is worth for the show. That's how much our average buy price for the lifespan of the show is about $49,610. Or so I think, maybe not. It's about $45,548 is our average buy price for the lifespan of the show. This was just the ballpark. The one down there takes into account the actual amount of Bitcoin that you bought, not just the actual buy price. So that's about right. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Let's look at our sats per dollar index. Today, the price of my burrito that I used to pay $13.70 for in October 3rd, 2023, 49,600 Satoshis. Today, it cost me 14,000 Satoshis for 70% off, right? If I was paying for that burrito with the regular paper money, it would cost me about the same since the price hasn't increased in terms of paper money. But in terms of Bitcoin, since the burrito still costs the same in dollars, $13.70, today I'm paying 14,000 Satoshis instead of 49,000 Satoshis. So I am, in essence, getting my burritos for 70% off if I've been saving in Bitcoin and living on the Bitcoin standard. It's pretty crazy, huh? Along that same thread, if I have been saving, if my rent or my mortgage was $2,500, which is the average for a household in the United States, if I had been paying my rent or mortgage of $2,500 since January 1st, 2023, my mortgage in terms of Bitcoin would have cost me 15.2 million Satoshis. Okay. If I had been doing a double payment on my rent, so maybe making a house payment and doing an additional house payment to start to, get ahead and pay off my debt sooner, I would have been better served if I took that extra $2,500, and instead of making a double payment on my mortgage, I paid my regular minimum amount of mortgage or minimum rent, and I took the other $2,500 and I put it into Bitcoin, because that would have bought me 15.24 million Satoshis, right? So fast forward now to about 2 years later, that 15.2 million Satoshis that I bought with the extra $2,500 is now covering about 6 months worth of mortgage payments or rent, whichever way you want to look at it. So if I did that for 2 months in a row, so on January and February of 2023, I would have set aside about, 30 million Satoshis, and those 30 million Satoshis would cover pretty much my mortgage or my rent for a whole year, right? And if you just would have kept doing that every month, like slow and steady, eventually you'll be able to buy yourself out of your mortgage if you want to, right? Or keep paying the minimum mortgage if you have a good interest rate, and keep stacking your savings, and your savings grow and grow and grow until you look and say, wow, actually we can pay off our whole mortgage now if we want to. But do you want to? Do you want to sell that Bitcoin and pay off that mortgage? Maybe not, right? But you know that if there's an emergency or if something comes up, you have all that extra liquidity now in Bitcoin that you can use because it's grown so much, right? And now the 15.2 million Satoshis that are paying for about 6 months worth of mortgage today, in another 2 years, maybe they're paying for a whole year worth of mortgage. So having done that once, where you took an extra $2,500 and set it aside in Bitcoin each month, would be paying for a whole year's worth of mortgage instead of 6 months, right? And you just keep doing it. And into the future, the longer you hold it, now maybe that 15.2 million Satoshis that we're paying for 6 months or a year's worth of mortgage, now it's paying for 2 years worth of mortgage, right? And you're going to get to the point where like, oh shit, well, I could just pay off my house if I want to, or I could just, anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? It's what your savings are supposed to do plus more. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, that is what we have for the stack stack recap. Let's look at just 2024. The price of Bitcoin is above our average buy price of 62,100. So today we're gonna buy $20 worth of Bitcoin on the show. Okay. So let's do that right now. Let's get ready to get that purchase done. Here we go. Now that we know how much Bitcoin we're gonna buy, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to stack some sats. It's lonely in here at McLovin today. Everybody's on vacation, hanging out, doing good things, I hope. That's cool. Let's see. I got everything ready ahead of time. I didn't get ready to buy the Bitcoin. It's pretty funny. Make a quick deposit here. And then let's get this. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's make this purchase. Ooh, tasty price of 92,000. $92,050? Wow. Let's make this purchase. It is in the record. I forgot to do the drum roll. But anyway, the purchase has been made. And when we stack, we chill. Okay, let me update the spreadsheet with this buy. So many things to juggle. There we go. All right. So the purchase today is of... There it is. Get down here. Oops. To the bottom of the sheet. Today's 11/26/24. We purchased at $91,978 Bitcoin. $20 worth. We got 0.00021668 Bitcoin. And just like that, we've stacked. Crazy. All right. And copy this and put it onto the other spreadsheet. Slow and steady stacking. Stack and roll. All right, there it is. And the final total for today after the stack is 0.31146,517 Bitcoin. That is how much we're holding for the Stack Sat Show. What are you doing for the holidays, McLovin? Are you chilling at home or are you going out to someone else's house? All right, and with that, jump into the Q&A section where McLovin and I chill out and hang out and talk about random stuff and wonder where everybody went. Where is everybody at? Where are you? All right. That we got. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. By the end of the year, all my interest bear credit cards will be paid off. Ooh, that's cool. Then I will start stacking again. I miss stacking. Gotta be fiscally responsible. I'll be grilling steaks with my dad. Perfect. So I get it, McLovin. Like I'm almost done paying for my truck, and I do a payment every week. I don't wait for the end of the month. I do a payment every week. I haven't paid it off completely. Like it's close to being paid off, but I haven't paid it off completely because the interest rate is so good. It's like 2% on that loan. But now I'm thinking, shoot, it would be cool to just throw that payment into Bitcoin, like DCA the payment weekly instead of doing my payment on the truck weekly. I'm just gonna keep that money flowing into Bitcoin, yeah. And then as other payments are paid off, I'm gonna continue to make those payments, but like again into Bitcoin, right? So it doesn't really change the amount of income I'm getting, right? It just, or I'm already like budgeted for it. I've already budgeted and set those things aside. So it makes more sense just to keep the budget as is and just redirect those funds into the stack. With very low interest rate, it makes sense to channel funds into Bitcoin, especially now. Yeah, exactly. So on that super low interest rate, it's only like 2%, which is like crazy now that I think about it, right? So I'm paying just the minimum because I'd rather have that cash in Bitcoin, right? Even if it's just a couple $1,000, like a couple $1,000 right now of Bitcoin. Like if I came up on a couple $1,000 and that's how much I had left on my truck payment and I'm paying at 2% interest, would I rather put those $2,000 into Bitcoin, like smash buy? Would I pay off my loan that's charging me 2%, or so pay off my loan, or smash buy those $2,000 and continue to do my minimum payment on my loan, which is again 2%, right? It makes more sense to buy the Bitcoin because the 2% that the bank is making off of me is not even enough to beat the hurdle rate. The bank is losing money on me because they're not even beating inflation with that, right? So I'm paying them back with weaker money. So that is the inflation working for me, right? That's inflation working for us. But anyway, once that does get paid off eventually, because I still have to do a minimum payment, and that's coming up pretty quick. Once that gets paid off, then I'm just gonna funnel that into the stack. Yeah, 2% is essentially like, it's like minus 6% for the bank against inflation, right? It's like minus 6% for the bank if you factor in inflation. The hurdle rate of 8%. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so we've stacked, we've chilled. It's time to wrap up the show. Hey, McLevin, thanks for tuning in. Are you going to be off? You know what? Let's just do this. I'm going to take the rest of the week off because tomorrow is like a short day for the kids. And we have the holidays coming up. We're going to have family over again this weekend. So let's just sign off the show for the rest of the week. And I'll be back on here on Monday next week. But still, you must stack. Okay? You must stack it. I remember saying that song, you must whip it. You must stack it into shape. Move forward. Move ahead. It's not too late to stack it, and stack it good. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the rest of the week off. We'll be back on Monday, but we're going to continue to stack Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? The stacking continues. We'll re-adjourn and look at the status of our stack on Monday. What's Monday? Monday, December 2nd? Sheesh. No. Wednesday. Yeah. What? Yeah. Monday, December 2nd. Monday, December 2nd, I'll be back here getting stacked, continuing to stack. So I'll see you guys then. Okay? Let's kick the show. Let's get the show wrapped up. All right, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, make sure you leave a comment, smash the like button, say hello in the chat or in the comments. And if you have any questions about Bitcoin getting started, especially if you're a beginner, I'm here to help. You can watch the show live and ask your questions live, or you can leave a comment and I will answer your question in the comment. But if it's a more complicated answer, I will jump on here during one of our live streams and I'll set up a whole presentation for you to teach you what you're learning, okay? To teach you what you're asking about. So make sure you ask questions if you're curious, all right? Y'all have a good rest of the week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys on Monday for another episode of the Stack Stats Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Have a good one, guys.